Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate you being here. Excited to finally be game week. Seems like we've been waiting on this for a long time, and I know that our players. There's Sunday night we practice, and a lot of energy bouncing around. I know they're looking forward to getting to Saturday. We still got a lot of work to do between now and then, but it is exciting to finally legitimately be in game week. We hadn't had that done yet. We've had a couple different plans to get ready for a game, obviously, and now that we're here, I think is kind of surreal and in some ways, and also watching college football the last 2 weekends, it's exciting. So looking forward to getting out on the field today and practicing. I want to thank our administration, our medical staff. I know they've just done an outstanding job helping us kind of navigate through all the protocols and guidelines. I know the health of our players and our staff and everybody here is number one priority, and I really have been impressed with how they've laid out a plan and we've stayed with it and really done a nice job with that. So excited about this 2020 team. I've said this before that, now I've been here a year and a half, you kind of got your feet on the ground more. There's just a lot more continuity. I feel like I know this team really well. And obviously we've recruited and done and made some changes in personnel that I think fit us and what we're about, and so I've been really pleased with how this team's growing together. I think the leadership on this team is going to be the key, and so far so good. Just through preseason and the summer workouts and really this whole coronavirus deal, these guys have done what we've asked them to do and really bought into what we're saying and doing, and I think that's a testament to our leadership through the COVID-19 all the way, even up to our One Troy Unity Walk, that I was so impressed with our players and how we handled that a couple of weeks ago, going over to the John Lewis building, the new John Lewis building, and just get an opportunity to express themselves and show the unity that we have here at Troy University and inside our athletics program, and really impressed with how our players handled that. Also, I think this team is made up of guys that really love football. I think that's the one thing that I see in this 2020 team is that they enjoy practicing, which is a huge part of success in any season. And I think I'm really looking forward to seeing them play. And no matter what, let's get a game under our belt and let's see where we are and adjust from there. But it's going to be a grind. It's a 12-week grind, obviously with no bye week, and that's something that we've been talking about. We've been trying to make them understand, and then obviously with the testing going on each week, it's a whole nother element on top of the normal bumps and bruises and injuries you have during the season. So, again, just excited to get started today in a normal week and looking forward to this 2020 season. We're getting ready for Middle Tennessee. Obviously, their head coach, Rick Stockstill, I'm familiar somewhat with Middleton. Just over the years, in 2010, we were in the same conference when I was here as an assistant. And then, obviously, I was at Southern Miss, and we played those guys at Middle Tennessee. Coach Stockstill's been there. I think he's been the head coach since 2006, which says a lot about him. Got a ton of respect for him and what he's done there as their head coach and his program. Old Sun Belt rivals, the Palladian Trophy, just you name it. It's just a good fit, I think, and it's two good football teams and good people involved. I know some of those coaches on that staff as well, and like I said, we have a ton of respect for their program and looking forward to competing on Saturday. Offensively, obviously they're led. Their offensive coordinator is Tony Franklin, who I'm very familiar with, who's a great guy. I've known him for a long time. I think I met him in maybe 2004. He's a guy that's an outstanding football coach, very creative. He's done it with different types of quarterbacks over the years at different places. Just to name a few, Omar Hugabuk here, which is one of the better ones we've had here in our history. Dual threat guy, Jared Goff, who obviously was a first-round draft pick, the first pick, I think, at Cal. Two different types of quarterbacks, and he's adapted always to his personnel, which is he's an old high school football coach. That's I wouldn't expect anything different. So I think that says a lot about him. But very, very obviously have a lot of respect for what he does, and I know they'll have a great plan for us. He's going to make you defend the entire field, and he'll do a great job with the personnel he has. I think quarterback Asher O'Hara is where it kind of starts. Really good athlete, truly a dual threat quarterback. I think he led their team in rushing last year with over 1,000 yards, threw for I think around 2,620 touchdowns. So he's very impressive. Started all 12 games in 2019, or started 12 games in 2019. So he's a guy definitely we have to have a good plan for, and he's going to make his share of plays, I'm sure. And our defensive staff's been working, trying to figure out the best we can do to limit him. And then I think wide receivers, you got 3 guys that come to mind: C.J. Wyndham, Jimmy Marshall, Jaron Pierce. All 3 of those guys combined for like 90 catches and over 1,300 yards. So very solid group there. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. We understand that, and we got to be ready to go. Defensively, Scott Schaefer, their defense coordinator, guy's very impressive. He's really a good football coach, very experienced guy. Been the head coach at Syracuse. Really has put up defensive numbers wherever he's been. I think he's a guy that they play to his personality. From what I can see, he's very aggressive. Defenses are always physical and run to the ball, so he'll be very sound, and he'll definitely present a lot of challenges for us on offense. I think, defensively, the guy that kind of sticks out to me is their safety, Reed Blankenship. He's a North Alabama guy, so he and I have that in common. Very familiar with the area he's from. He has had a good career there, and preseason all-conference guy, preseason Jim Thorpe, Senior Bowl watch list, led their team in tackles in 2018, had an injury in 2019, but almost 250 career tackles and 8 interceptions, so he's really had a nice career there. And I think he's a guy that looks like one of their leaders on defense, and a guy that we have a lot of respect for sure. Special teams, they got their punter and their kicker back. Kickoff team, I think, was their best unit from what I can tell last year, so they play a lot of starters on special teams, which tells you how important it is to Coach Stockstill and those guys there. It's going to be a challenge for our return team. We need to get a good return and start with good field position if we get an opportunity to return it. So I think all that being said, they've already played a game, and this will be our first one, so there is some challenge in there, and on the road. But I think our guys are really excited to play. We have a lot of respect for Middle Tennessee. Understand that playing Army was a whole different animal for those guys, and they'll rebound well. They got good coaches, they got good players, and obviously playing at home will be a big plus for them. And we got to be able to handle the road trip in game 1, and hopefully we'll do that well. Okay, any questions?
Chip, I'm looking at the depth chart. I know that Jacob Free looks like he would be the backup if something happens to Gunnar. What has he done that's really opened your eyes?
He and Kyle Toole are really, really close. They're neck and neck. I would say that what he's really done that's been impressive for me is he's just matured. He handles himself very well now on the field. He's taking care of the ball much better. But at the same time, Kyle has really come in and pushed him well too. So I would say right now those 2 guys are neck and neck for the number 2 spot, and if we played one of those, I'd just try to make a decision that I felt was best at that time.
Coach, you talked before about your opponent make you to defend the whole field. This is maybe a strange twist, but to what degree has COVID made you defend all things football in terms of preparing for every eventuality?
Hey, Solomon, good to hear from you. Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely made you rethink some things, and I assume you're talking about personnel-wise, not having these guys or these guys and adjusting, and something we've talked a lot about. The one thing I'll say, though, is once you establish kind of who you are offensively, for instance, the way we're built here at Troy, we kind of are who we are. Even before I got here, this team was somewhat built the same way we are now. So I don't think we could change from a standpoint of just all of a sudden go to a huddle triple option offense or some defense that's different than what we do, because at the end of the day, our guys know what we do. That's the most important thing. So, but it's made you rethink some things from the standpoint of personnel. If you're down to your 3rd or 4th quarterback, what do you do then? If you're short wideouts, how do you does that change the way you play on offense or defensively? If you're short D lineman, does that make you play more odd front? All those things are scenarios that we've definitely had to think through. And even coaching-wise, hey, what happens if one of our coaches tests positive for corona? We got a plan for that as well. And I think the best thing we can do is just try to plan for the unexpected and somewhat hope it doesn't happen. But at the same time, if it does, we gotta handle that and move forward.
Coach, the talk the last couple weeks has been you guys getting 2 extra weeks to kind of prepare for this season opener. So now looking back, what did you guys do specifically these last 2 weeks to get ready for Middle Tennessee?
Well, I think the biggest thing we did is we were able to somewhat get healthy from the standpoint of just some nagging injuries or nagging bumps and bruises that we've had. I think our players will be fresh on Saturday. There's that fine line of being fresh and not being conditioned enough from the standpoint of game-type situation. But we've been able to scrimmage and practice and tackle the ground several times. We've been able to hit all the different scenarios, third downs, red zones, space down days, coming out, all the scenarios a couple different times. So all that's been good, and I think for our guys, we've just tried to take somewhat of a negative and make it into a positive by really focusing on us. We did get to spend a little time on Middle Tennessee last week, obviously, and this week we will be full go. But at the same time, these games – college football really comes down to you kind of who you are, and you got to execute at a high level. And if you can do that, you'll have an opportunity to win. In all three phases, we have to be able to do that. And if we do, we think we'll have an opportunity to win.
Coach, Rick Stockstill said yesterday that they're playing a team that they've never seen before in you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, players you graduated a year ago, new starting quarterback. But on the flip side, you may have seen them play a game against Army, but how much do you take from that, especially defensively from Middle, since they had to defend an offense in Army that is obviously a lot different than they're going to have to defend you guys. So how much did you benefit from really watching them 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, not a whole lot for sure. Defensively, watching those guys on defense, the triple option obviously is, it's a whole different animal, so to speak. And I'm not sure that they'll play those personnel combinations they played against us like they did against them. But it does get you a chance to watch their guys run around on tape, who moves well, who tackles well, and vice versa. You're going to get a lot of opportunities to watch them tackle against Army because obviously they run the football. But I think that's one of the things that kind of evens this thing out from that standpoint. Now, offensively, we got to watch them on offense some and the defensive guys, but Tony is a really good offensive coordinator. He'll have some unique wrinkles and twists every game, and that's kind of what he's done in his career and things I've seen him do and learn from him actually. So I do think they're a lot better football team than what you might see if you just look at the scoreboard. I mean, an Army obviously is, like I said, a whole new twist to the game, so to speak. And these guys will be ready to play, and they'll have a great plan, and hopefully it'll be a lot of fun.
Coach, I asked you about the kicking battle last week between Jack and Evan. It looks like there's still the or right there between their names on the depth chart. Do you have that potentially being settled this week, or are you going to enter this game and kind of see how both guys handle it?
I think we'll try to narrow it down this week. It's really crazy. They're almost identical from the standpoint if you look at what we've done practice rep wise, and probably just have to make a call there on Saturday. But again, like I've said, they both have kicked in games. Jack obviously handling our kickoff duties, and Evans made field goals in college football games here at Troy. So I got confidence in both of them. We're just looking for the guy that's the most consistent. They've both at times shown that, and they both at times had their bad days just like anybody else would. But I like both those kids a lot, and either way, once we make a decision that we'll go with it, we'll support that guy. And just like we do at quarterback, I mean, they're going to have to kick well to keep the job, and just like we would at any other position. But I do think we got two very capable guys.
Injury-wise, is Luke back ready to go, and is there anyone else that may be missing?
Yeah, I think Luke's ready to go. He's really looked pretty good here at practice this week. He's an important part of what we do, very smart, heady player. So feel good about him. And other than that, I think we're in a good spot. Marquis Colvin, probably already know that. He's not going to play this year. Obviously had an injury during preseason, but other than that, we feel really good about everyone being close to 100% healthy, and feel good about the team we're taking to Murfreesboro on Saturday.
Coach, how excited are you about this rushing offense with BJ coming back and what we saw from Billingsley last year. I mean, that's got to have you smiling pretty big heading into this season.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think the running back room is really solid. Obviously BJ is a guy that's one of the leaders of our football team. So just having him back from that standpoint is huge. Feel really good about him. DK filled in great last year for him. I mean, almost ran for 1,000 yards himself. And then, when you talk about Kamani Vidal, who's a true freshman that I think you guys will really enjoy watching, along with Jamontez Woods and Charles Strong. I think when you look at that room, it's a solid group, and I think they'll all play and they'll all get their opportunities to run it and catch it. And obviously for us, it's all about touches. We're trying to make sure that the right guys touch the ball, whether it's handing it to them or throwing it to them, whatever. So, but they're all very capable. They're all greased up and ready to go, so to speak. And looking forward to that group this year. I think that group. Last year we were in a situation where we had to play the delivery guy one week, right? And because we were down so much, which was a great story and what a great kid. But at the same time, we feel like right now we have some depth, but we felt like that going into Southern Miss last year too, and you saw how quickly that happened. So I'm glad we got some guys there, and you can never be more prepared than we are now, right now at running back.
And I was just curious on trying to defend a Tony Franklin offense. I know he throws a lot of things out there. Just talk about a little bit about having to prepare against a guy and a team like that.
Well, obviously there's some similarities between their passing game and our offenses, but at the same time, I think he's really evolved, and he uses quite a bit of 12 sets, a lot of quarterback run game. They've got a very dynamic quarterback who can run, and so they do a really good job of running quarterback power, quarterback counter, and just forcing you to make sure that you stay gap sound, obviously, and trying to keep you in a quarter's look as much as possible, just to force you to take away the quarterback run game.
How helpful was it that you got to see one game at least? I know they didn't do much offensively as far as putting any points on the board, but you've gotten a chance to review at least one game of theirs.
I think the biggest thing is you get an opportunity to look at who their personnel is. Anytime you're going to that first game and they've got guys that have graduated or they may have moved them around, and then you're just looking for some simulators, obviously of what they may have, done last year, and just kind of looking at the different wrinkles that they may have added to that from last year. But for the most part, they didn't play a whole lot of snaps. I know Army runs an offense that controls the football, but at the same time we took a lot of time looking at the personnel and just trying to see how much crossover there was from last year to this year.
Hey, Coach, Stephen Gunnar with WSFA. Just your thoughts on getting a talented player back in the defensive backfield like Terrence Dunlap and what he brings to that back end of the ball.
Well, he plays with a lot of confidence to start with, and he really enjoys playing football, and so that makes it fun. And obviously, he's a dynamic athlete, and we're fortunate to have him back. He's one of the few guys on our team that you really feel like can match up with pretty much anybody one-on-one physically. And so when you got guys like that at corner, it really alleviates the stress as far as what you're trying to do coverage-wise when you're playing against bigger receivers or dynamic receivers.
Coach, we've heard from Coach Lindsey and players after the last couple of weeks how improved his defensive side of the ball is. From your perspective, what's been the biggest improvement you've seen from last year to this year with this defensive squad?
There's a lot so far. We've been very blessed injury-wise. So we've had our base unit has been able to stay together quite a bit. So we've got a lot of continuity, which has led to obviously some leadership and some confidence in each other. Last year we were moving guys around quite a bit into different spots, and so when you start doing that, I think the instinctual piece as far as knowing where a guy is going to be sometimes, you don't really understand how that guy may or may not bluff or how he moves, and so you might be a little bit slower to react because you're kind of waiting to see what he does. But once you kind of play or practice with somebody day in and day out for a couple weeks, you begin to kind of see their mannerisms and kind of get familiar with how they do things, and then you're able to fit off of them or hold your look a little bit longer. But the biggest thing has obviously been just the continuity, and that's just created some really good leadership.
I'm looking at the depth chart here, and it's a bunch of juniors and seniors over on the defensive side of the ball, but nose tackle Luis Medina, a freshman. What stuck out about him being into his first year in college ball that you guys go with him to get the start?
Well, he's a big-bodied guy. You know, we were very blessed, you know, when we recruited him, he was a wrestler, and he was weighing about 285, and he weighs about 315 pounds now. And he can still move, and he's got great feet, and he's powerful. Again, being a wrestler, he's good with his hands, and he's just got tremendous upside athletically. Obviously, he's still a freshman and trying to learn, obviously, the scheme and how to play the game. But I think his potential is outstanding as far as just his skill set.
Been almost exactly a year to when the injury happened. Can you relive that a little bit for me? Go back on that pass play and exactly what happened, and then what you were thinking afterwards. Did you know you were immediately hurt?
Yeah, how y'all doing today? And yes, sir. It's been, I think yesterday was exactly a year since I got hurt. And I mean, it was just a regular play that I probably did my whole career here. And Caleb, you know what I'm saying, he made a good throw to try to position me, you know what I'm saying, away from getting hit. And, you know, I tried to make a back shoulder, tried to plant on my right knee, and I just felt and heard a snap. And, I hit the ground. And, you know what I'm saying, my first instincts would have just be mad because, you know what I'm saying, I couldn't help the team out at the moment. And I had to take a couple plays out. And then, you know, when Dr. Dugas told me what happened, and, you know, that I was going to have to be here, you know, probably for another year, you know what I'm saying, because I was going to be out. And, you know, I got emotional, but I was really more emotional, you know, just because I had to miss the game. And, but, you know, just looking back, you know, it was an emotional, you know, part of my career, but I think I seen it through, and I came out, you know, better on the other side.
What has the rehabilitation and everything been like for you to get back to this point and be able to play on Saturday?
It's been hard, you know, but you know, nothing worth having is easy. So I push myself every single day, you know, going back from probably, you know, the day after surgery. You know, a coach that means a lot to me, he told me, you know, that you got 24 hours to feel sorry for yourself. And, you know, I remember that, you know, throughout the whole process. And so I tried to push myself every single day. And, you know, looking back, it definitely was worth it.
Was there ever a point for you this whole off season and everything? You injured last year, you come back for spring practice, and that gets canceled, and then, you know, coronavirus, you know, pushing the season back. What was that like for you to have to go through all that in just a year span?
It was challenging, you know, but I didn't really focus on, you know, the circumstance. I didn't really focus on what I couldn't control. You know, I couldn't control, you know, that I got hurt. You know, that was in the past. That already happened. I just could control my attitude, you know, every single day. So I just look forward to coming in and just getting better every single day. You know, I went probably about a year, you know, just wondering, waking up every morning wondering, you know, when I'll be 100%, you know, when my body feel the same. And, you know, I truly can say that that day has came, and, you know, I feel good. And, you know, it's really just a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise. And, you know, I couldn't really focus on coronavirus and stuff like that because, you know, whatever, you know, God had, you know what I'm saying, in store for me, you know, I was going to get. And so, yeah, I just attacked it and looked at every day like that.
BJ, y'all got a pretty stacked backfield. I mean, besides yourself, talk about some of those other guys.
Oh, yeah, hands down. This is probably one of the most talented backfields I've been a part of. We really got like 6-7 guys that all can go. You know, we got DK, who he showed what he could do last year. And, you know, I was proud of him last year. He's constantly making strides to, you know, constantly be better. And, you know, Kamani, he's a young guy who he probably, you know, hands down, I look back and I'm like, yeah, he definitely has it. He has what I didn't have, you know, my freshman year. And he's constantly, you know, making strides to continue to be better. He's pushing all of us, really. And, you know, we got Charles, who's, hey, he's a workhorse. And, you know, he going to do what Charles can do. And he constantly getting better. Then you got Josh Mays, who's coming off of an injury as well, and I think he's done an amazing job, to come back from that, and he's really been through the same thing I've been through, and he's constantly getting better. Then we got Jamontez Woods, who came off a little injury last year, but I think he's more explosive and better than he has ever been, and he's constantly getting better each day. And I think all 5 or 6 of us, we really just go and try to push each other every single day. Coach Weeks did a great job, so far of just telling us every single day, let's try to be the best running back room in the country. But that comes with us trying to be individually the best running back in the room. And, I think that's just been nothing but competition. And at the end of the day, it's going to make us all better.
BJ, what is your relationship kind of like with Gunnar and he's taking over this offense and everything? What have you kind of just seen out of him, his progression?
Gunnar, he's making strides as well. His maturity level has really increased since last season, I feel like. And, just, getting to play beside him in fall camp, throughout fall camp and stuff like that, just hearing him, how he communicates with the whole offense, receivers, running backs, O-line. And, sometimes he'll just, he'll whisper something in my ear, and be like, hey, just check for this or something like that. So he definitely sets all of us up, to be successful. And I think, he's only going to get better. And, like you said, it's competition in that room as well. So I think all those guys are going to push each other, and, it's going to make all of them better.
How does it feel knowing that in a couple days you guys will take the field officially for the 2020 season opener?
Oh, well, I think the whole attitude of the whole entire team is just an anxious feeling. We're just overly excited. We've been, have games pushed back and stuff like that, and, the whole pandemic going on. So it's been a long time coming, so we're just really excited.
From what you've been able to tell, what has just been different about the defense during the little bit you had in spring and what you've had in the fall compared to last year?
I think it's a whole 180 turn, honestly. Communication is 100 times better. Guys trust each other more. People are actually doing their jobs, they're not taking plays for themselves or anything. And we're running full speed. There's no giving up on any play. And we just have weapons everywhere that, that's going to be tough to stop. So it's really big communication, and just getting to the ball has been great.
Majority of us know the big names over on the defensive side of the ball, yourself, Carlton Marshall, Richard Jubenar, guys like that. But who are some of the younger guys that have really stuck out to you during fall camp, getting ready for the season?
I think everybody still knows about Dale Pettis. He's a young guy, but his leadership is by far one of the best on the teams. He's grown so much since last year. Reddy Stewart, a cornerback for us, plays really great ball. I love the way he practices, and I think he's going to show up really well. And really all of our D linemen, all the young guys are stepping up when they're supposed to and doing a great job. So there's a lot of guys. Also in the linebacker core, Jaden McDonald, he's also a great linebacker as well. He's an amazing athlete, and he's going to be really good as well. So I think there's a lot of guys that are just ready to go.
You go up against this offense every single day. What's impressed you about it? I mean, they have weapons at every spot, it looks like. And how has that made you guys on the defensive side better?
Oh, man. First off, I think we have one of the best receiving cores. Going up against Reggie Todd, Khalil, and oh man, my dog. But going up against those guys it's tough for us, but that makes us better. And the whole running back core is amazing. BJ, of course, coming back. KV, all those guys are real downhill runners. It's amazing. The O-line is great, led by Bradshaw. He's been taking great leadership role in that. And also Gunnar is a real great quarterback. He tests us a whole lot, so all of it is great to me.
Just how does it feel now with this team and everything, knowing that you guys will take the field this upcoming Saturday?
I think we're ready. I think we're prepared. I'm ready to go. We've been waiting for a while now. Spring practice was canceled. We didn't know if we were going to have a season, so I think everybody's ready. We're excited about it.
What were y'all able to work on these last 2 weeks from when the season was supposed to kick off to now to get ready for this game?
I think we just had more time to prepare for Middle Tennessee State. We watched a lot of film on them and got really a dry run last week at what our game week practices are going to be like. So that was good, and we'll just try to improve on that this week.
Looking at the film, Gunnar, anything that especially stand out about the Middle Tennessee defense that you've seen?
They're a good team. They're a really good team, and they like to bring a lot of pressure. But I think we'll handle it fine, and I think we'll be ready to play on Saturday.
You have a loaded backfield with you this year. BJ DK Billingsley back there as well. Just as a quarterback making his first career start with this team, how great is it to have that kind of those guys behind you in the backfield out there on Saturday?
It's real nice having BJ back there and DK too. They played a lot. I'm really comfortable with both of them back there. And Kamani Vidal looks really good. Jamontez looked good, and Charles is really good too. So I'm comfortable with all 5 of those back there. So.
Hey Gunnar, obviously Coach Lindsey's coached a lot of good quarterbacks through the years. What advice has he given you as you walk into your first collegiate start here, and what are you trying to take from him as you head into this first start?
Just run the offense, follow the directions. That's what he preaches all the time. Just follow the directions, go through your progressions, check it down when you're supposed to check it down, and just have a successful game and a successful year, throw for a lot of yards.